Will President Trump be able to get his appointments in now that Senator John Thune is the Republican Majority Leader in the U.S. Senate? Sure can, according to Federalist Paper 67, written by Alexander Hamilton. He states, "The second clause of the second section of the second article empowers the President of the United States to nominate and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States whose appointments are not in the Constitution otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law." Immediately after this clause follows another in these words, "The President shall have the power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session." Basically, a president can fill a vacancy within his cabinet or administration for up to 2 years, and that person that's appointed can have the powers as someone who is normally appointed and confirmed by the U.S. Senate. Hamilton later goes on to state that his position will be hardly contested, and this is what happened at the Constitutional Convention in 1787 when this portion of the Constitution was ratified unanimously. Here's where things get complicated. There's something called pro forma sessions, and do you see the lengths of these videos? 39 seconds, 1 minute 48 seconds, 2 minute and 42 seconds? You might be asking, why are those sessions so short? And the reason is because with pro forma sessions, that's the point. No legislative business is supposed to be conducted, no bills are supposed to be voted on, and the Supreme Court ruled in 2014 that this is a way that the president can be stopped from making recess appointments. National Labor Relations Board versus Noel Canning in 2014, the Supreme Court ruled that the Senate must be in recess for at least 3 consecutive days for the president to make recess appointments, and that a pro forma session effectively ends a recess. So, even though Democrats are in the minority party, we could have such a weak majority leader that they use one of their senators in Maryland or Virginia, a state that's very close to Washington, D.C., to start a pro forma session that maybe has just them involved or a couple of senators while everybody else is away in their district, and that would be enough to stop President Trump from making the appointments he needs. There's a requirement in Article 1, Section 5 for Congress to meet no less than 3 consecutive days during any given congressional session, and the way that they shortcut this is by using the pro forma session where no legislative business is conducted, so basically they have a reason to just be in their districts campaigning and being totally unproductive. And it's totally legal. There is precedent for this because in 2012, during the Senate recess break, Barack Obama tried to make some appointments to the National Labor Relations Board, and Republicans kept calling pro forma sessions to disallow them. And while they were able to be disallowed, rejected by those pro forma sessions, they were eventually confirmed when the Democratic-controlled Senate returned to conducting business as usual. If this Republican Senate doesn't get their act together, President Trump may have to put a lot of people in acting positions, where basically they're in the position with a very limited amount of powers until they're actually confirmed by the Republican Senate. It's what Joe Biden did with quote-unquote acting Labor Secretary Julie Su. So this is a confusing but politically charged process, and that's the point. Welcome to partisan politics.